Welcome, Councillor Caps. So, we're ready to begin this meeting now. And I just want to recognize that we're on the unceded territory of the Quetzal Nation, and that in this room, there are different views, different ways of expression, different emotional intensities, and different roads that lead to conclusions. May we combine clarity of mind with kindness of heart, and may we be impartial without bending to strong personalities. May we sacrifice self-interest for the good of the whole, and may we do our work with love and clarity of vision for the benefit of those that we represent. And with that, I will get this meeting underway. So a call to order, introduction of late items. I see none. Is there anything that has been added since? Okay. We're having a sound issue. We'll just take a commercial break at the beginning of the meeting. Cue music. Cue music, Peter. Mr. DeVerti, I mean.
Thank you for waiting, Mayor Staples. It seems like we're good to go.
All right, we will begin again. Any late items, Ms. McWilliam? Now that the sound is working. Approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a mover and a seconder? All those in favor? Excellent. Adoption of the October 14th minutes. Would they be adopted as presented? Everyone? Yes? Excellent. And we'll move on to delegations, and we will welcome Staff Sergeant Beard. Come on up. A little busy out there the last few days.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Mayor and Councillors. Thank you very much for the opportunity to review the second quarter policing stats for the detachment. That'd be your third quarter. So this is July, August, and September. Just want to let you know that your detachment has responded to 31 calls for service year to date since January the 1st in the city. That accounts to about 20% of the total for the year. And at this point in time, we're about 16,000 calls for service that we've responded to. That's a big number, but it's actually 744 calls for service less than last year. So it feels like it's been very, very busy this year, but I didn't realize it until I ran the stats, but it actually was busier last year. The first 3 pages kind of depict some of the cross-section of things that we're doing for the community here. I like to add those things just because it's more than just out there on patrol. It kind of shows some of the things that we're doing to support the community's safety and security needs. The next section in the report goes over the crime stats. And so, just want to let you know that overall, for this quarter compared to this time last year, the trending is actually pretty nice. It's trending downwards in general. Violent crime is trending downward overall in comparison to this time last year. The REVOI program, which is helping, that's the Repeated Violent Offender Program. It's designed to ensure early intervention in cases involving prioritized individuals. And repeated offenders right now are ending up in custody, so that's helping as well. We're still having some issues in the community, particularly down the corridor. Keep our attention there. But overall, violent crime is down in the city. Property crimes are also trending downward for the city. Shoplifting is overall low in the city, even though it shows that we're 17 files compared to 18, or 8 rather, last quarter, or this quarter last year. 17 shoplifting files is actually low overall anyway, comparative to years in the past. B&Es are trending downwards. Stats are suggesting that we're seeing more opportunistic type B&Es. An example of that would be doing a B&E on a construction site versus a targeted B&E like a jewelry store. Robbery crime types, including reports where intoxicated persons are reporting their shoes, cell phones, and bikes have been taken. It's a bit of an alarming number to see 4 there under robbery, but one of the files involved what appeared to be a drug-related, taking a person's cash and a gold chain. That person was apprehended, and then there was another situation in early October where a couple of young fellas out on James Street were. There was an attempted robbery with a couple of other individuals using a pellet gun as a make-believe weapon. Those 2 were also apprehended. One of those young fellows is still in custody. Mischiefs are down. A lot of that is loitering and warming fires. So those reports are falling, or those calls for service are definitely falling. Thefts from vehicles are trending upwards, but they reflect an unforced entry. So like unlocked vehicles, it's kind of an unsophisticated, opportunistic type of a crime. So that's basically what the makeup is there for those statistics. False alarms are trending upwards. The hot spot around in the city here is around Station Street, and involves about 3 businesses, and the washrooms on 130 Canada Avenue. Yeah. And then the next page, 7 and 8 of the report, track our progress on our annual performance plan. These items on the annual performance plan are generated as a result of our town hall meeting last March. We're not doing too bad overall, considering the pace of work here in the valley, but we are behind our targets for a number of curfew checks, restorative justice referrals, and the school liaison visitation program. The other statistics are pretty reasonable, including the road safety enforcement violation tickets. That's actually not doing too bad compared to target for the year, and we're only halfway through the year. So we have more work to do on to get our targets up or our actuals up for curfew checks, and then restorative justice referrals are also need more attention from the detachment. We basically started the school liaison program for the first time in September, and that's going very well. And we've got lots of involvement this quarter. So overall, not too bad there. We're at 69 members. We took in 4 members this past quarter, and we lost 6. And yeah, 2 of them went to retirement. And then victim services. The numbers are there, as well as the prisoner statistics. Our prisoner stats are down for the year compared to last year. We try to not house prisoners as much as possible, just because a lot of the people that we deal with have health issues and we don't want them having difficulty in cells. However, we do put people in custody that are required there for the safety and security of the community. And that's the report for the second quarter. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you so much. I'm going to turn to Council. Councillor Newington has a question.
Thank you for the report, and I love that it's so detailed. This is wonderful. Can you just explain to us what the curfew checks are?
Yeah, so curfew checks would be those conditions imposed by the court. For instance, a person has to be in their house between 7 and 6 in the morning. So we will stop by the residence and at 7:15, or yes, it was 9:15 or later on after that, just to make sure the person's abiding by those curfews. And the curfews are imposed by the court because the trouble that they're causing in the community often happen between those hours. So we found, I was a little bit surprised to see that our curfew check numbers were down, so we're focusing on that for this next quarter. But it is something that's pretty important to make sure that those that disregard the rules of the court understand that there's a consequence.
Thank you. Any other questions? I see no hands. Thank you again for your report and for all the work you and your team do.
Thank you,
We'll
ma'am.
see you next time.
Thank you very much.
And now I would like to pass the mic over to Councillor Middlemiss, who's going to take over for me. I have to declare a conflict of interest on the next one because one of the people who works there works for me, so at a different job.
Okay, so our next delegation is Cowichan Restorative Justice Society.
Ai hana and siam nasia ya and Kalipowat Nitsan at Cowichan. Good evening, my respected friends. My name is Kalipowat and I'm from Cowichan. I'm also the Vice President of Cowichan Restorative Justice. There we go. Oh, am I going the wrong way? Uh-oh. Yep, there we go. Thank you. Thank you for having us here tonight to present, and thank you for supporting us last year with $4,000. So Cowichan Restorative Justice is an approach to justice that focuses on addressing the harm caused by a crime and meeting the needs of those involved. It's a process that provides opportunities and safe voluntary dialogue between victims, offenders, and communities. And so it seeks to repair the harm by taking accountability for the offenders. And in restorative justice, we use the terms our responsible party and affected party for victims. And in the traditional courts, victims' voices are often silenced. You don't hear them throughout the whole process. And through us working with, it's victim-centered or affected party-centered, so they have a say throughout the whole thing, right from the beginning, whether we accept a case or not. And we are a nonprofit organization since 2012. We were awarded charitable status last year in 2024. We are primarily volunteer run with 15 hours a week of paid staff time. And our total of hours we have is 589 hours. And that was just to September, and that's caseworkers and our board, which is also volunteer run. We host training on community justice forums. We've recently started an RJ and education program since 2023. And this works to, we have some contractors that go into the school and they facilitate circles, so it acts as a prevention before anything happens, because conflict can be healthy when it's learned how to address in a healthy manner. And we are supported with, we use the RCMP Community Justice Forum to do this, and we don't charge anything for these services. Our referrals primarily come from the RCMP, Provincial and Federal Crown Council. However, we do accept referrals from schools as well. And that's not always centered towards crime. I've started as a caseworker, and I've worked a case where like there's homophobia or racism, and a crime may not have been caused, but harm was still inflicted. So it works to repair those relationships in schools before it escalates into maybe possibly a more serious crime. So how this works is once we receive the referral, our team lead will review the file, and then they'll have interviews with all parties, and then they'll delegate mentors or caseworkers to help all parties prepare for a circle. The types of cases that we have are theft, break and enter, arson, assault, mischief, theft, motor vehicle joyriding, cyberbullying, harassment, vandalism, shoplifting. And in 2024, we had 42 cases. As of the end of September, we have received 20 referrals. And so the benefits and the differences between restorative justice and the criminal court. Restorative justice, the whole thing can be completed in approximately 4 months. Less time for the police to be spending in court. They're not just waiting in court, they can taking away from their time policing. Reduces those costs. Reduces reoffending and its closure for all parties. It benefits the community. And for criminal court, it can take years. Many police resources are used. Cost of overtime, low accountability, and I already addressed or mentioned that the victims are often silenced throughout this whole process. So they can feel targeted or not feeling safe, where this process can help them regain that safety and their power back from a harm that has been done. And the financial aspect of it, I looked it up on Justice Canada. The average cost per person in court is approximately $5,837. So as of September, we have completed 9 cases, and we have 10 active cases. So the benefits, the AP, the affected party, has a higher chance of receiving restitution. That comes through RJ, if there's financial costs involved. They also, as I said earlier, can regain their sense of safety and their power. And for the RPs, they avoid criminal records. It's also cost effective. And the school program can act as prevention. So our goals for 2026 is to receive more RCMP referrals, to train more volunteers to take on lead roles to be lead facilitators. And we want to incorporate transformative justice into our work, and just a quick description of what that is. So RJ will help repair the harm, but an example that I read of a story is, say, it's a single mother who maybe stole a purse or some food because she's got 3 kids that are hungry at home. She takes accountability, she apologizes, that circle's done, but that mom and those children are still without. So we want to incorporate that to kind of get to the root and of why maybe somebody is maybe committing a crime or what's going on, to create better outcomes and more support for our community. And we would also like to sustain more sustainable funding for our RJ education program. We would like to expand to other schools. We have had talks with Cowichan Distric about starting with the littles and doing circles with them as well. However, that does require sustainable funding. And this is our budget for the year. So for our funding, we have the Community Accountability Program, which is $4,000, and I think 4,200 a year. The, thank you. The MNC RCM budget is $26,320. The city of Duncan gave us $4,000. Duncan Dabber gave us $5,500. BC Community Gaming gave us $12,500, and revenue from training fees, membership dues, and donations, we received $4,566. And this year, we are requesting $4,152 from the RCM budget, and this is prorated by the population. And Heinchka.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Does anybody have any questions? You go ahead.
Thank you very much. A lot of really great information here. Do you find that there's a certain age group of the responsible persons?
I don't think we have those statistics today. Yeah, but I've been on the board for, this is my 3rd year, and I did 1 year of casework, and a lot of the people I supported were younger people. A majority of them were teenagers. Yeah.
Anybody else? No? Okay. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Middlemas. So move on to the report of the Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. DeVerti.
Thank you, Mayor Staples. The Eagle Heights Reservoir Replacement Project, the construction is underway now. All of the trees have been removed from the site, and the site prep is underway. Next will be some lock block walls along portions of the property, and then they'll move to site grading and move on with the project. We anticipate it's going to last about 5 months. The existing reservoir can remain in operation the entire time. The Trans-Canada Highway Boulevards beautification project. This is a project north of Trunk Road primarily, up to the city's border. That project is now largely complete on the design, and is moving forward to review by the Ministry of Transportation. We are expecting comments that may alter some of the design elements, but due to the strike, we're still waiting for that comment. The Coronation Avenue bike lanes are still underway. Project completion was anticipated late this month, but it appears it's going to push off into November a bit. An analysis is underway by McElhaney regarding keeping Coronation a two-way street, while also keeping the associated cyclist safety, which is an important factor, obviously. Staff are also exploring removing some of the concrete barriers alongside the parking stalls on Queens Road to address some concerns that have been expressed for passengers exiting their vehicles. The Canada Avenue Complete Street projects, the designs are nearing completion in cooperation with North Cowichan, and will be ready for issuing for tendering later into November. Duncan Street crosswalk safety improvements. Traffic calming medians have been installed now for the Rainbow Crosswalk across from the Duncan garage. There will be pedestrian activated crosswalk flashers and some tactile services on the sidewalk letdowns, so those are still to come. The Price Place extension, so that's some design work that's been underway for a number of months now to connect what in the future what will be Cowichan, an extension of Cowichan Way up and connect through Dobson and all the way up to Trunk Road at some point. Binny is the consulting engineers. They were engaged and have now completed that road design for the future connection, and so those designs are under review by staff. Excuse me. The 2025 budget meetings are scheduled for November 3rd for operating budgets and November 17th for capital, both at 10 a.m. at City Hall, and everyone, of course, is welcome to attend it. We had a pretty good turnout last year for some budget meetings, so we'd love to see more folks come out again. The 2025-26 Regional Community Program Grant, the city has been selected to receive $11,000 for the community forum program that'll support relationship building events and development of agreements with Cowichan tribes. Regional C2C program is administered by the Union of British Columbia Municipalities and funded by the province of BC and Indigenous Services Canada. Just a couple items left. The citizen survey, the deadline to complete the survey was extended to October 24th due to the postal strike. So that's now closed. We'll be compiling those that information and submissions come to council in the near future. To the temporary winter shelter, pleased to announce that BC Housing has confirmed funding for a 24-hour temporary winter shelter subject to final budget and operating agreements with an operator at the former Ramada Hotel at 140 Trans-Canada Highway, and that'll operate hopefully we're aiming towards getting open for November 15th, and that will run until March 31st, and that's 24 hours and run 7 days a week. The local working group with CVRD, Duncan, North Cowichan, and Cowichan Housing Association staff will continue to work together on supporting this temporary winter shelter for this winter and work on a proposed application for a 2026-27 shelter proposal to BC Housing for us in the spring. We have to get that application in the spring. We have not confirmed what that location will be in the future, as we're not quite certain yet on the status of the Ramada for the upcoming winter. Lastly, as council's aware, that the Cowichan Tribe flag was recently installed at City Hall, and on September 30th, the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, Cowichan Tribe's Chief Daniels, Duncan, Mayor Michelle Staples, and Speaker of the BC Legislature, Raj Chouhan, Clerk of the Legislature, Kate Ryan Lloyd, and the Cowichan Valley's MLA, Deborah Toporowski, raised the Cowichan Tribe's flag to fly permanently at City Hall. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. DeVertai tonight? What a quiet night at council. Okay, so no questions. Thank you for your report, Mr. DeVertai. And we'll move on to the next item on our list, which is the reports of committee. And Ms. Crossman is doing this one, but I need to now pull number 10 on this one. Is there anything else that needs to be pulled from anyone else? I'll explain it when I get there. Anyone else? No? Okay. So can we go through 1 through 9 then, Ms. Crossman, and then we'll jump to 10 after?
Thank you, Mayor Staples. So this was, grant and aid were discussed at a committee of the whole meeting on October the 20th. And the committee reviewed all the applications at that time and came up with the following recommendations. And so they're listed here on the report, items 1 through 9, and council can potentially move 1 through 9 all at once or go through them one by one. I'm not sure. Maybe Paige can speak to that.
Sure, let's just do that together. Okay, all right, so I'm going to ask that we move items 1 to 9. I can read them all out. Carol's giving me a look, so no, we'll just do 1 to 9, they're all here. And a mover and a seconder, any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. And number 10, so last week on Wednesday, I got a message from one of my staff members saying that Cowichan Value Services wanted to donate half of its proceeds to an event they had on Thursday night to the organization that I work for, to the youth programs. So that's when I found out. So now I am in conflict. So I'm going to remove myself.
Okay, so number 10, that council approve a grant and aid of $2,000 to Cowichan Valley Youth Services. Do I have a mover, seconder? Okay. No discussion? No? Okay, all those in favor? Okay.
All right, moving right along, we'll move to grant and aid yearly ongoing. Ms. Crossman, did you want to introduce this?
Sure. So this is, again, the committee of the whole reviewed the yearly ongoing grants and aid, and these are grants that are committed to on an annual basis, and the societies don't need to apply for them. They're just approved annually, and so a committee has recommended that council confirm the regular grants and aid. And so item number 1 is all the ones that have the amount confirmed, and item number 2 is the Duncan Cowichan Chamber of Commerce. And I believe the committee had recommended $22,000 for that one.
All right. So is there a mover for 7.1.2 that we confirm the ongoing grants and aid? Is there a seconder? All those in favor? Nope, I'm going to stop for a second because we have to pull a couple of them at the end. So they're not listed as separate numbers. So I just want to make sure that that gets counted. So we're just going to go through Blackrock Schroeder, Downtown Duncan Business Improvement, McCullough Housing Society, Cowichan District Hospital, Rotary Club of Duncan, Duncan Cowichan Chamber of Commerce. So those ones, motion for those ones, a mover and a seconder. I stopped us though because there's one that has a conflict. So that's what I was saying. Because it's not separated on here. It's separated, but it's not separated by number. So I'm just wanting to ensure that we're voting on the right thing. They're all together, so that it should have been a separate number for the last one. For yours. But it isn't if we move the whole thing. So I'm just being doubly careful. So a mover and a seconder for what I just read out. All those in favor? Motion carries. And now we'll move on to Councillor Newington. You have to declare your conflict. You have to declare it though, not me.
Yes, I am the president of the music festival, and I also work at the Hospital Auxiliary Thrift Store.
Excellent. I think that was just it should have just been bumped up, the number. Okay. And Councillor Duncan is not here, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, so now we'll move on to what should be 7.1.3. The council confirm a yearly ongoing grant and aid of $200 for the Cowichan Music Festival Society. Is there a mover and a seconder on that? All those in favor? And then council deny the permissive tax exemption application from the Cowichan District Hospital Auxiliary for Craig Street for the tax year. Okay, all those in favor? Excellent, motion carries. And oh, I see. It's all good. All right, so now we're moving to reports of staff, and we'll go to the application for the Emergency Treatment Fund, and Ms. McWilliam is going to fill us in on this addition to our agenda.
All right, thanks, everybody. The Emergency Treatment Fund is a federal provincial cost-sharing funding program that supports the expansion of community-based treatment, recovery, and stabilization options for people experiencing substance use and mental health challenges. We've recently become aware of this funding that is available, and we heard from Lookout Housing and Health Society. They've proposed an expansion of the village for 6 additional units, which has already been envisioned by council and was approved through the temporary use permit. So with council's support, staff will work with Lookout Housing and Health Society to submit an application for this funding, which is due November 4th, I think.
All right, are there any questions or anything from anyone? Okay, the council directs staff to apply for the Emergency Treatment Fund 2026 to support the development of 6 additional dwelling units at the village supported housing site in partnership with Lookout Housing and Health Services. And if there is anything else in addition to that, because they had also talked about, there was also talk of the like a joint space, but that's all included in the actual, yeah, it's just the 6 that we have to do. Okay, just wanted to check. All right, so mover and seconder. All those in favor? Motion carries. And that council meeting schedule. Ms. Hodgins, over to you.
Thank you, Mayor Staples. So, under the community charter, the city must make available to the public annually a schedule of the dates, time, and place of regular council meetings and give notice of the availability of the schedule through advertising. For 2026, regular council meetings are proposed for the 2nd and 4th Monday of each month to avoid most statutory holidays that fall on Mondays and to make it easier to host 2 meetings in January following the Christmas break. New for 2026, Committee of the Whole meetings are proposed for 2 p.m. on select council meeting Mondays rather than on opposite Mondays. And for the past few years, council has approved having only 1 meeting in March and September, and that is also proposed here for 2026. Also included this year is a joint meeting date with the municipality of North Cowichan, which will be scheduled in the spring. And only 1 meeting date with North Cowichan is proposed this year due to the fall election. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Are there any questions or anything of anyone here? No? I'm still on the fence on whether or not I like the 2nd and the 4th Monday, but that's okay. So that we approve the 2026 meeting schedule, which establishes the regular council and committee of the whole meetings for 2026 is attached to the October 27, 2025 report from the Corporate Services Coordinator, and that notice be provided by posting the 2026 meeting schedule in the public notice posting places and advertising in accordance with public notice bylaw number 3237, 2023 and section 94 of the community charter. Is there a mover and a seconder? All those in favor? Motion carries. And we'll move on to Ms. McWilliam again for the fees and charges amendment bylaw for dog license fees for future generations. Well, at least years, maybe not generations.
Well, we've previously had a schedule that had gradual increases for dog license fees in the fees and charges bylaw. We've come to the end of those fee increases, so we don't currently have a rate in the fees and charges bylaw for 2026. Our local government management intern, Zara, did some research to check where we are at compared to neighboring municipalities and other South Island local governments. And it seems like we're right on track. So we're not proposing to make any increases to our current rates. This is just an amendment to establish those rates for next year and all future years until we undertake another review and potential revision down the road.
Excellent. So, thank you very much for that. That council give first three readings of the fees and charges amendment bylaw number 3212, decimal 11, 2025, a bylaw to establish license fees for future years, or dog license fees for future years. As a mover and a seconder. Are there any questions or concerns for Ms. McWilliam? All those in favor? Motion carries. And we're going to move on to permissive tax exemptions again. All right, and we're going to go to Ms. Crossman. We're going to go to Ms. Crossman first. Over to you.
Thank you, Mayor Staples. So this is 3 readings for permissive tax exemption bylaw. This was previously reviewed by the Committee of the Whole on September the 8th. Oh, sorry, this is for adoption, actually, not 3 readings. So this is the final step in adopting the permissive tax exemption bylaw, and once this is completed, staff will forward this to BC Assessment Authority so that they can process the exemptions on the 2026 roll.
And I just want to thank you, first of all, but second, I just want to make sure, so for just passing the bylaw, no one has to recuse themselves. It's the next section for the individual ones. Is that just doubly correct? Yes? I see nodding. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to check on that. And so we will adopt the permissive tax exemption bylaw number 3259, 2025, a bylaw to provide a 1-year permissive tax exemption to the properties detailed in Schedules A and B of the bylaw. Is there a mover and a seconder? Everyone's nodding. Excellent. Loving the passion in here this evening. And all those in favor, motion carries. Okay. And so now we're going to pull apart some of them, and I need to also pull out an additional one for Cowichan Value Services because it's in that batch. It's in the batch. That's why I asked.
Thank you. I see what you're asking now. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. I thought you were making mention of the other 2 bylaws we've prepared separately that do not have the Cowichan Value Services included. So, that is a new change. Okay. With council support, if you're open to stepping out of the meeting, council can vote. You can declare a conflict for the entire bylaw, and then council can reconsider that without your participation.
Okay. Absolutely. Thank you.
So we're redoing 10.1. Okay. So the council adopt permissive tax exemption bylaw number 3259, 2025, a bylaw to provide a 1-year permissive tax exemption to the properties detailed in Schedule A and B of the bylaw. Do I have to read all them out, or, okay, mover, seconder? All those in favor? Pass.
Okay. Now we'll move on to 10.2. Councillor Bruce is not here, so we can just move on without him declaring his conflict. The council adopt permissive tax exemption bylaw number 3260, a bylaw to provide a 1-year permissive tax exemption to Citygate Church as detailed in Schedule A of the bylaw. Do I have a mover and a seconder? All those in favor? Motion carries. And we will move over to Councillor McKinley.
Yes, I'll have to declare a conflict because I am a member of St. John's Anglican Church.
All right. So the council adopt permissive tax exemption amendment bylaw number 3251.01, a bylaw to provide a 1-year permissive tax exemption for 2026 to St. John's Anglican Church as detailed in Schedule A of the bylaw. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. And we'll just wait for Mr. McKinley, Councillor McKinley, to return to the room. This is a very clunky little. Yeah. I know. It's, well, I mean, everyone's involved in the community, which is a good thing. And everyone's getting their steps in tonight. All right, so we'll move to 10.4, Financial Plan Amendment Bylaw. And over to you again, Ms. Crossman.
Thank you, Mayor Staples. So this is the final adoption of a financial plan amendment bylaw that council has reviewed a couple times already. And all the items are listed in the staff report that's attached.
Thank you. Are there any questions of Ms. Crossman at this time? I see none, so we'll call that council adopt the financial plan amendment bylaw number 3257.01, the bylaw to amend the financial plan for 2025 to 2029. That seems ancient. All right, mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Motion carries. And we'll move to new business, the proclamation that the city proclaimed November 3rd as CRPS RSD Awareness Day in the city of Duncan. Is there a mover and a seconder? Any questions? All those in favor? Motion carries. And reports of mayor and council. Are there council members who would like to say anything this evening? Councillor Newington, excellent.
I feel like I've had a busy week, but not really. But one of the interesting things that I went to was the human trafficking seminar that was put on by the RCMP. And you don't think that it's happening in your community, but it is happening in everybody's community, and it's quite tragic, actually. And I was very pleased to see that they are going more into schools to let students be aware, and also teaching staff of some of the telltale signs that occur when somebody is being targeted and groomed and that sort of thing. And it's not just girls, it's also boys. And human trafficking does not just take the form of sex trafficking, it is also using people that are maybe immigrants that are coming into the country, and somebody says, oh, I'll get you a job, give me your passport and we'll get it all organized and everything. And they keep their passport and they keep most of their pay, and they live in poverty or they live in a tent. And so it's quite a large spectrum of incidents that happen with this. And if anybody, there's a human trafficking website that you can go on to get more information if anybody's at all interested. Thanks.
Just one day. All right, anyone else from council want to make any, no? Okay. So I'm gonna just hum along through mine, because I've got one going back to September. When Chief Daniels and I were filming the introduction for the digital totem tour that is live now, correct? Yes-ish. The digital totem tour, which I'm really excited to actually start looking through and hearing the stories. And thanks for everyone who was involved in doing that work. And thank you, Mr. DeVerti, because I know this has been something since we did those original recordings when we made the signs. You've been wanting to do this, and you've been steadfast in ensuring that it happens. So thank you. I attended the Together We Can ribbon cutting ceremony along with Councillor Bruce was there, and Councillor Newington and Councillor Duncan were there, and Mr. DeVerti. And they're just waiting for funding, is my understanding, for the actual beds themselves and for the operation of the facility. And I attended, along with council, a reconciliation workshop. And UBCM happened, which seems like it was already a year or two ago, but it's here, so it wasn't that far in the past. And we were busy doing a lot of meetings, a lot of advocating for all the things that we need in our community, and listening to a lot of other stories from people who are doing the same thing. And I will leave it at that, I think, for UBCM. And we have got hopefully some really positive follow-up sessions, which I'm excited to, or follow-up meetings with different ministers. Myself, along with many of us, attended the Every Child Matters March for the National Truth and Reconciliation Day. And I was very privileged to be invited to be one of the speakers for that day. And Chief and I raised the Cowichan Tribe's flag, as Mr. DeVerti said, at the flag raising ceremony for the first time a Cowichan flag is being raised at City Hall. So thanks again for everyone on our council and to staff for working to make that happen. I've got so much feedback about that day and what it means to people, and so I'm really happy that we're finally able to make, what seems like a small step. It's taken us a long time to get here, and I'm just really proud of us for continuing to walk along that journey. I did not attend the QMS Grade 8 class presentation. That was Councillor Newington, and did Deputy Mayor Duncan make it with you that day? And then also Larissa, one of the planners, made it. I was very sad to not be able to attend. It's one of my favorite things every year that we get to do, to listen to all the incredible ideas that the young people have. But I look forward to going to their next session when they get to share what they've done with those things in a bit more detail. And I attended, I did not actually go to the human trafficking awareness session either. Again, just a conflict of time, but I have attended previous ones, and I've attended courses on it and attended many films on it, and it is horrific. And something that, yeah, like you said, you don't ever imagine happens in small towns, but that's exactly where it happens. And I find that I'm constantly, when I'm like in airports or different things like that, they have the signage everywhere now, and I'm here, they've had them in the States for quite a while, but I'm constantly always looking around and trying to notice things and thinking, like, how does this all just happen around us without us noticing? But a lot of things do. And I also, over this weekend, Councillor Duncan and I handed out candy outside on Spooktacular, which was a great event. The rain poured and then stopped, and then all the trick-or-treaters came, and then the rain started again. So it was perfect, and it's just, those events, I think, just mean so much to people in the community, and there's just so many people that you don't, coming downtown, and so many shops had lots of people in them, and it's just I just think it's so important that we do that and find those ways to connect with people who maybe not normally come downtown and give back to the community in that way. It was lots of fun. And Tom's costume, Councillor Duncan's costumes, did scare some children, absolutely, but it was good. And then that night, a number of us went to the Sports Hall of Fame, and it was, again, an excellent event, and it was great to hear all the stories of people who've given so much and dedicated their life to sport and to community in our region. So it was excellent. And now it's Monday, and we're here again, and we're starting a whole new month, and it's almost Christmas, and yeah, I can't believe it. And the trees are beautiful outside right now. That is one thing I must say this year. The season change has been absolutely stunning with everything else happening. That reminds me constantly of the beauty that does exist in the world. So with that is the end of my little presentation this evening, and we'll move into question period. Do we have people lined up for questions this evening? No? They will be tomorrow night in the city of Richmond. They're doing their open house around the Quatinus decision and the impacts of And so that I'm going to be watching. And I have not looked at the score of the Blue Jays game because I'm in a council meeting, but that is also happening right now for those people who that's important to, like me, who's recently become a Blue Jays fan because of all of this. So we're going to go into close now, and we will close to the public under the following sections of the community charter to discuss matters related to municipal awards, section 91B, personal information about identifiable individuals who are being considered for a municipal award or honor, or who has offered to provide a gift to the municipality on condition of remaining anonymous. And do I have a mover and a second? Thank you all for understanding what I was saying. And with that, we'll go into close. We will reconvene in 5 minutes.